Where it really started was in the Iraq War in 2003, where I was mostly manic. I felt bulletproof. And it was the start of my paranoia that really became, these paranoid delusions. And the paranoia started with certain looks, comments, feelings, actions that I interpreted as being against me. And so there were elements of reality, but my mind took them to levels that really weren't true. My paranoid delusions grew stronger from Iraq through 2016. And I believed I had enemies who were out to get me. They wanted to get me fired, stripped my pay and rank stripped, to see me jailed and destroyed. And then it became deadly and terrifying when I was in bipolar hell from 2014 to 16, while I was depressed. I had this crippling fear of arrest, demotion, jail time, brutal visions of my own death in jail, where I would be beaten, tortured, stabbed to death, face down on a cold concrete prison floor, gurgling in a pool of my own blood. And this murder went through my mind repeatedly and terrified me. I had another psychotic delusion or hallucination of an invisible deadly force in 2015 and 16, again, when I was depressed. It would grab me and throw me underneath a speeding 18-wheeler truck, which would tear me apart, and I would see my arms and legs and head flying out from underneath the truck. Or that same force would grab my hands on the steering wheel and drive me into an oncoming truck, killing me instantly. When I finally went to the VA in 2016, they asked a question, they said, do you have any morbid thoughts of death and dying? And I said, yes. And I described those to the doctor. And he said, those are passive suicidal ideations. And it was the only time I was asked that question. And he said, this is really serious because they could become active. And he said, hey, we really need to keep you here in the, inpatient ward for a while, which was a good thing for me. I had other hallucinations in 2014 when I was in full-blown mania that I was flying. I could see myself. I would go out on late night bike rides in Washington, D.C., and the bike would lift up off the ground and I would fly over and between the monuments. Another time I was on a ferry boat and I lifted up off the boat and I was flying above the boat over the ocean. I saw the Holy Spirit descend multiple times when I was in mania. I believed for a while that I was the Apostle Paul in the U.S. Department of Defense, thought I was the smartest man alive, held the key to world peace, and that I could take America and the world's security to a whole new level. Some other hallucinations, I would see faces morph at various times of high stress. Like if I went to a funeral of a soldier, I would see the face of the fallen soldier morph into the faces of my sons. And my bureaucratic opponents at work, their faces would morph into the faces of snakes and rats. Along the way, I would have PTSD flashbacks to Iraq, where hallucinations where I had the sights, the sounds, the smell, the feel of combat, explosions, fires, thick smoke, bullets flying, death all around. And the people who were opposing me in my job running the university, National Defense University, they would morph into enemy fighters. So that was a very dangerous time where bad things could have happened. Another one was when I saw demons attacking our house where we live. And so for protection, I put Bibles, crosses, crucifixes in the windows and doors, sprinkled holy water. And then I saw the hands of God come down and protect our house against them. And then this big boa constrictor snake in 2016, when I was depressed, would slither out of the woods every morning, come up and squeeze the life out of me, leaving me crushed, exhausted, unable to function. But just, I'll wrap up here. Since lithium in 2016, when I started, up until today, my psychotic episodes are much, much fewer because I was having them every single day, multiple times per day, if not continually. So they're way fewer and they're much milder. So the medication and the therapy have improved my life and reduced the psychosis to where it's very, very minor. and I'm living a very happy, productive, healthy life.
Goodness, Greg, I'm not sure that I've ever heard such an eloquent, vibrant description of psychosis before. Thank you so much for sharing. And the thing that strikes me is, we were talking about different experiences of psychosis between people, but your internal experience of psychosis ranged from what sounds like sheer terror through to some experiences that are almost more transcendental. And so just the diversity of what you experienced over time as well is just so striking.